You ready? Yeah. Okay. So picture with me that there is a mom and a child in a car. They are driving around having a good time together, and maybe there's some music playing in the background, and they're both kind of in this deep reflective, thinking state. And all of a sudden, the little kid, about 5 or 6 years old, speaks up from the back seat and says, "Mom, thank you so much for today. This has been the best day of my whole life." And as a mom, it makes you feel amazing to hear that from your kids. It makes you realize that all of this hard work you're putting in is making a difference. And so that's the kind of moment that I want to talk to you about today. That is the kind of thing that we need to have with our kids, is that we're pouring out into them this life-giving, abundant life that Jesus tells us is ours to have. No matter how many kids you have, you can connect with them at that deep soul level to where they will have memories that they will never forget. Recently, I took my 6-year-old daughter and we went on an overnight trip. This became a thing for our family when my oldest was 6, so about 3 years ago. I did the same thing with her. Now, what this looks like is that we chose a place to go. It was about an hour away from our home, and we got an Airbnb and we just stayed one night and had 2 full days. And it was very intentional. I planned out where we were gonna go and what we were gonna do, and even times of intention really focused on her heart, really focused on sharing with her the love of God. We are on our overnight trip. I've been waiting for this trip for a long time. Have you been excited?
Yeah, for months.
Months and months, right? And it's finally here, and it is 170 degrees. At least that's how it feels, right? When I had 2 kids a couple years ago, I just had the 2 kids, and my husband and I really debated on, are we gonna have more kids? Because it really was a deep concern of mine that having a large family and having a lot of kids, you would struggle to really invest one-on-one with each of those kids. That was a real concern. That was legitimately a fear that I had, even though both my husband and I really wanted to have a large family, and we've always wanted to have lots and lots of kids. And so now with 5 children, and a lot of them being really young, I have 3 and under right now, and the oldest is 9, so they're still pretty young. That is a challenge. That is a struggle. We all know how busy life gets. Even if you only have 1 or 2 kids, life is busy. Our culture really pushes us into doing and going here and going there, and sadly our children get kind of left in the dust of the running all around to all these different events. So how do we make sure to invest the time into each individual kid so that we make sure that we're training all of our children, we're really setting their heart in the right place so that we set them up for success? That's what I want to talk to you about. And it can be as simple as planning a trip and executing it well. The way that this video is going to be laid out is that I'm going to give you just little clips of the chapter that we were on at each particular place we went to, and also little clips of the discussion questions at the end. And also, if you're interested in getting this book, I will post a link in the description that will take you to Amazon to where you can purchase this book. This is a book that I've written that is geared towards girls, and specifically girls that are the ages from like 4 to 8. I have seen that around 5 or 6 is a really, really good time to do this kind of trip with them, to take them and really open up some communication with them. Chapter 1. This is the story of a little girl named Noah. Noah is 6 years old and lives in River Village right outside the Gold Kingdom. Noah is an orphan, which means she does not have a mom or a dad. Noah is a very kind and generous little girl. One of Noah's favorite things to do is to pick flowers from the forest and give them to others who live in the river village. One day, while out in the forest picking wildflowers, Noah saw a beautiful deer in an open meadow. To her, the deer was the most beautiful creature she had ever seen. She slowly and quietly moved closer and closer and closer until the deer let Noah touch her. On the way into town that day, Noah told everyone she saw about petting the deer. "Of course the deer let you pet her, sweet Noah," said one of the ladies from the village. "You are the sweetest girl that this village has ever known." Noah smiled and took a beautiful blue wildflower out of her basket and gave it to the lady. Noah's favorite thing to do was to give. She loved seeing that she could bring others joy by giving them gifts. Flowers were her favorite thing to give. Sometimes Noah got sad because she wished she could give something to her mom and her dad. She wondered if there would ever be more to her life than living at the orphanage in River Village. Although she knew that the villagers loved her and her gifts, she longed to someday be in a family of her own. So at the end, chapter 1. What did Noah like to do?
Give flowers.
Yeah, she loved to give, right? It brought her so much joy.
What's her name?
Noah. She was such a sweet little girl, and she gave. She loved to give, and giving is such an important part of how God created us. He gave. It's in His nature to give, and we're made in His image. So it says in John 3:16. Do you know what John 3:16 says? For God so
Loved the world that He gave His only Son,
that whosoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life, or eternal. Some versions say eternal.
eternal life.
Yeah. So Jesus came and lived on this earth and then died and rose from the dead to take away the sins of the world. What an incredible gift.
Does it say like that?
Yeah. When we give, we are being like God, the one who made us like Him. So what are your favorite ways to give?
Probably taking it to a friend or something like I did with Eden.
Mm-hmm. You love to make stuff, huh? And give it. Like create your own thing. And give
I
it to
once did a book and I gave it to you.
Yeah, I remember, and that was really helpful. I remember how almost every time we go to the store, you're always like, "Oh, I think Vashti would like this," or "I think Aurora likes this," and you're thinking about them, and you like to get them little things too, don't you?
Like I did with Isla when she was there with me. I got her a notebook.
Yeah, and you even used your own money to do that, right? That was so sweet. So in the next couple of videos, I'm going to be walking you through the book that we used, kind of taking chapter by chapter through it, and also some of the different events that took place and my takeaways, some tips on how to really make this effective in your life and for your child. And hopefully just inspire you, encourage you to get out there and do this with your own children. My prayer for you is that your bonding with your children, the communication that you have with each of your children just skyrockets, and there is a connection developed between the two of you that will last a lifetime.